Okay, friends, family, and frenemies, how you doing? It's your girl, Dr. Shonna, and I am live today with our conversation about our beloved brother, Jacob Blake, who is said to be in the hospital in critical condition and is believed to be paralyzed from the waist down due to being shot in the back 7 times by a police officer over in Wisconsin, Kenosha, if I'm not mistaken. Wisconsin. I wasn't going to come live today. I was trying to avoid this conversation at all costs because, as many of you guys who follow me on my Instagram page, that is the page where people get to see my true feelings. They get to see, not that you guys don't see my true feelings, but you see my activism. You see my like educator mode. That's what you see. But on Instagram, not that I'm not educating, I am educating, but solely on relationships. So today I went there because I have a different relationship with my Instagram followers. And it was an opportunity for me to be as transparent as possible. So many of you guys who are on my Instagram channel, you know how emotional I was and how hurt I am. And this is going to be a real focus video tonight, because I don't know if I have any more tears. Even though I feel emotional, I don't know if I have any more tears for tonight. I did enough crying. And yes, I do cry. I'm a therapist and I do feel the pain of other people. And I think that's what makes me great, not good. I think that's what makes me great at what I do, because of the pain I feel of other people and because of my ability to be able to connect with people on all levels. So when I heard about this incident, it touched me deeply. It hurt me. It moved me. And it got me to thinking on a deeper level about what's really going on in our community, because there's so many questions that I have. There's so many uncertainties. There's so many, I don't know, so many things that aren't clear to me. And it really does baffle me. So before we get started, of course, let me give the housekeeping, because you know we're going to have a deep conversation. This is not going to be a real research-based conversation. This is not going to be me telling you guys to have your pen and paper, which you probably should always have your pen and paper. Your little Dr. Shonna book. You should really have your, I'm going to start selling Dr. Shonna books. You should really have a Dr. Shonna book, okay? Because there's going to come a time when I'm dead and gone, and you're going to have to pass the content and information on to your children if I don't have enough time in my lifetime to put everything that I talk about in a book. I would love to do that, but I may not be able to get along to doing that because there's certain procrastinations that I have in life. And writing seems to be one of them. I have so much content that I started writing. I just need to finish that shit. So I need you guys to do that for me by having your books. But here's what I have to say. Thank you so much, Black Outcast Media Broadcasting, for the donation. Says, damn, family, the like button is free. Smash it. Absolutely. Listen, family, let's get into the real housekeeping before we go ahead and get started. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. I want you guys to hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell as well. There's a lot of new people in our community. I need you to hit the bell and hit subscribe so you can know when I am going live. It doesn't cost you a penny to hit the thumbs up button. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up. Give this video a like. For some of you haters out there, I know you want to give it a thumbs down, and that's okay too, because you've been bamboozled. Whatever you do to engage with media, social media, it all benefits me. Even if you don't like me, it's okay, haters. Just do something. Don't sit idle. Most importantly, I think it's more important than we hit the share. Then we hit the like and the subscribe button, that we share the video. Make sure you share the video. Do not worry about anybody else's feelings. You know, I'm going to keep my videos PG-13. I am not a PG speaker. Every now and then a curse word will seep through, but it's not rated R. So you can go ahead and share the video for your PG-13 audience. Please go ahead and do it. Thank you so much, Shani B, for that donation. Share the video. Last but not least, William Scott. That is my dedicated donor. I thank you so much for your donation. And I have another donation, Edwin. I don't know if it's Edwin Adams. I'm trying to bring up your information, and maybe I'll bring it up at the end to keep this thing flowing. But I want to say thank you to Edward or Edwin. Forgive me if I'm saying your name wrong. I want to say thank you for that donation on PayPal. For those who have been asking me how to donate, my moderators, shout out to my moderators. They are thebomb.com, and they already know if they have opinions that are critical in thoughts, we leave them. Critical in thoughts means research-based. So you've done your homework. Don't give me your bullcrap blogs and trying to make that research. No, do your goddamn homework. Don't have emotional arguments. Support your arguments with data, research, and facts. That's how you stay on this page. If you are just emotional and you want to take personal attacks towards people, moderators, and I love every last one of you guys, you know, we just go ahead and we delete those people. It's just as simple as that. We don't care, because I don't care. I'm not here for the numbers. I'm here for the community, and that's the difference. And I'm going to get into communities today. And for those who are asking how to donate, if you don't hit that super chat right here at the bottom of your, when you go to comment on my page, you'll see a $sign to the far right. Hit that super chat. You can donate that way. But if you want to donate directly to me, which all of my donations goes to me being able to provide affordable services to people who come to my organization for counseling, you can go ahead and donate to my Cash App, my Venmo, or my PayPal. On my Cash App and Venmo, it is at Dr. Shonna, DRSHONNA. Cash App and Venmo. For my PayPal is Shonna Etienne. My first and my last name, SHONNAETIENNE. That's all you have to do to donate. For all of you guys who've been consistently donating, I want to say thank you. And for all my newcomers to my community channel, I want to say thank you for joining the channel. Thank you for joining the business group and the relationship group. I hear that some of you guys who are new members are not getting the access to the videos from all the trainings that I'm doing to help you structure and market your business appropriately, and for all the training that I'm doing in order for you to be a better social media influencer. I am in communication with YouTube, but just email me at Ask Dr. Shonna if you're having a hard time accessing those channels. I will give you the links directly, and you should be able to view all those training videos. And that's a different aspect of me, is a professional aspect of me. And those of you guys who are in those communities, you know when I train, I'm very direct, I'm clear, I'm making concise, and you can apply it. But you have to bring a pen and paper. So all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So I want to talk to you guys about Jacob Blake. This is a brother of us in our community that we really have to have the conversation around. Many of you guys know that Jacob Blake was, to my understanding, and I'm just saying that because all the information is not clear yet, but to my understanding, what was happening is he was having a birthday party for one of his sons. He has 3 sons, 3 young children. He was having a birthday party on the front lawn of his business, i.e. COVID. And 2 women, I don't know if they was a part of his party or not, 2 women got into an argument. And Jacob, being the man that he is, and women, y'all know, I just want y'all to put your feelings aside tonight. And if y'all in my relationship class, y'all know how I get on Saturdays. So this is not about your feelings. This is about us being better. I'm going to address these women that was said to be arguing, where he went to go break up the argument, and this brother is fighting for his life. There's a Lord Jesus, I'm trying to keep it PG-13. There's a problem here. There's many problems here, and I'm going to address it. Not only will I be addressing the police officers that was pulling him at his t-shirt, trying to prevent him when he was not the reason why the call came in, trying to prevent him from getting in his vehicle, shot him in his back 7 times in front of his 3 children. Not only will I be addressing that, I will be addressing the women. I will be addressing the women, and I also will be addressing the community. Hear me when I say in this video, I'll be addressing the women who got into the fights with all that masculine energy. And I also will be addressing the community who called the cops. All I want to say. That's all I want to say. Somebody says beautiful home. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, my home. This is my Zeta couches, my Zeta blue couches. I'm waiting for the painters to come in and paint my apartment, but they acting kind of crazy because it's COVID. I need my walls white. I need all my walls white so I can have my blue and white thing going on. Trying to get them to come in, but everyone's scared. And I get it. I don't want your asses bring me to Corona either, but I would like my house white. So if not, that's a whole other story. But let's go ahead and get into that. Let's go ahead and get right into the conversation. So like I said, what I need you guys to do is recognize what is happening here. Our brother, Jacobs Blake, if you guys have not already poured libations out to the ancestors, if you guys have not already called the Orishas, if you guys have not already said a prayer, I'm going to need you guys to really do that for his family and for the community, okay? I also need you guys to recognize what is really happening here beyond what we are able to see. So there is something sinister happening here. We need to really be aware of what's happening here. Like I said in my video on Instagram, the devil is roaming. He is roaming and we are the targets. And for some goddamn reason, one black man after another black man, some of us, not all of us, but some of us don't seem to get it. Can I tell y'all a personal story? Somebody said, no, leave the color. It's beautiful. Thank you for that. But I wanted my blue and white. My look at my, that's white. I need my blue and white. But I get what you're saying. Maybe I'll leave it for a little bit. But let me say this. Some of us, we have to be aware of what is happening here. This is beyond us getting upset at the police. Now we're furious about the police. The police is ruining our communities. We don't trust the police. And especially when you leave the community, when I say leave the community, when you leave the inner city, when you leave the community that's predominantly populated by black people, and you juxtapose it against the community that you chose to move into, where the majority do not look like you, you see the clear distance. You see the distinctness in how the police operate in our community versus how the police operate in communities that's occupied by those who do not look like us. It is a big difference. And yes, ET, we are under attack. We have to recognize that we are under attack. And so one of the things that I want you guys to recognize what is happening here, there is a systematic destruction. And I said it before, I'll say it again, and I don't care who gets offended. There is a systematic destruction. Systematic plan to destroy black men, black boys, black families, and black communities. I'm going to say it again. There is a systematic structure, a systematic plan, call it social engineering, to destroy black boys, black men, black communities, and black families. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Where you can take a man's life in front of his 3 young children to leave them traumatized as they witness their father fighting for his life, as they witness their father being taken away by a helicopter. There is something sinister that's going on. You cannot tell me you are afraid. I'm sorry. You cannot tell me that you are afraid. You cannot tell me that you are afraid of black people and you are working in communities in which black people live. You cannot tell me that in 2020 and think I'm going to accept that. I don't know about you guys, but you cannot tell me that in 2020 and for me to have sympathy over a race soldier. No, absolutely not. See, you got to understand. See, let me paint the picture from what we know. Let me paint the picture. There is a birthday party. There is some type of, Father, you ladies, I'm about to get on your asses right now. If it don't apply, let it fly. If it do not apply, let it fly. But some of you ladies, I'm about to get up on your asses right Now, thank you for that donation, Sid. Sid says, seems like the election coming up, black men are worth more to BLM and Democrats dead than alive. Absolutely. Ooh, Sid, you speaking something. Don't take me off track, Sid, but you speaking something tonight. Let me go ahead and make this very clear for you guys. There is an argument between two women. Every time I say it, I gotta laugh. This is why I have my coaching classes for women. This is why I have it. There is an argument between two women, and Jacob, as the story is told to us, as the narrative is told to us, Jacob tries his best to break up the disturbance between these two women who are at each other's neck. Now, I don't know who these two women are. And to tell you the truth, it doesn't matter. I don't give a flying F-U-C-K if these two women were the mothers of two of his children. I don't care. Or three of his children. I don't care. The point is, we are at a child's party, ladies, and you are outside in the public, ladies, getting in an argument to the point where the cops are called. Now, I don't know what kind of community you live in. I don't know what kind of community you live in, but I'll tell you the kind of community I grew up in. The kind of community I grew up in is if two women are outside about to get it popping. And I was one of those women. Y'all already know I don't try to hide my life. I don't have anything in my life that's private, right? So some people might think they're digging up some shit on me. You ain't digging up on nothing on me that I haven't already spoken about. And if you say I'm going to speak about it, so I really don't fucking care. I don't care. Did I curse? I curse. I don't freaking care, right? I grew up in the Bronx during a time where your beloved presidential candidate and the evil Bill Clinton has enforced the 1994 crime bill. So at that time, cops was on us like, why? I remember a cop telling my uncle on the porch of his own goddamn house to mind his business as the cop was harassing my cousin, my brother, me, and my little cousin on my family's property. I remember the cop telling my uncle to take his ass back in the house or he was going to get arrested. And my uncle was a teacher in a New York City school district. Take his ass back in the house or he was going to get arrested. This is the kind of environment we lived in the Bronx. So when we got into a fight, when we got into an argument, number one, if you were so hot-headed as a female, there was very few of us on the block that was just that fucking hot-headed. Oh, I cursed. I'm sorry. I know I'm upset. But there was only a few of us on the block that was so hot-headed that when a man is in our ear, come on now, y'all ain't hearing me today. When a man is in our ear telling us to knock it off, see, the women who was not able to hear that message, they had way too much masculine goddamn energy, to tell you the truth. Too much energy. See, when my brother came outside and my brother said to me, Shonna, back off. And they're pushing me, I already knew that I need to take it down several notches. Because when I heard my brother tell me to back the hell off, I already knew I had to take it down 7 notches because that's the way I was raised. Oh, I'm going somewhere with this. Trust me. I'm going somewhere with this. When there was a fight on my block, and all the women were outside getting it popping. I ain't going to tell everybody's business out there, just in case they watching. But it was one of those situations where the women just had it. When the Matatanas, which is the Dominican gang, if y'all ain't know nothing about the Bronx, I understand, but when the Dominican gang, the Matatanas came through on a block, and they wanted to have a fight with UNO, and UNO was many of the guys that we dated, including myself, were in UNO, United Nancy Organization. They was in that little gang, if you want to call it. When they came through, and we found out they had jumped one of the guys in the group. The women came downstairs, including myself, And we was ready to get it popping with the Dominicans, ready to get it popping, however we had to do it. So, it was those days we had blaze in our buns, blaze in our cheeks. It was one of those kind of situations. That's how we grew up. I'm not embarrassed of it. I'm not ashamed of it. That's how we grew up. Let's get it popping. But when the dudes came through to break it up, the fight was broken up. We may have been popping shit to the other women, like, let's get it popping. We may have been popping shit, but it was broken up. See, nobody called the cops. See, when situations popped off in my neighborhood, I don't know about this neighborhood with Jacob Blake, but when situations popped off in my neighborhood, the cops weren't called, because we knew when the cops was called, they was coming with a whole squad in paddy wagons. I don't know if y'all call them paddy wagons where y'all was from, but in my neighborhood, it was paddy wagons. They was coming through with paddy wagons, and they was coming through by any means necessary. So if nobody wanted to break it up, and the crowd didn't want to disperse when the lights was coming up the block and the crowd was still on it, they was coming out swinging. Women and men both were getting it. So we knew not to call the goddamn cops. We knew the cops had no right in our community. So when I read this story, and I read maybe 4 or 5 different articles on this story, when I read this story and I think about it, I'm like, what kind of women, no offense, were they that when Jacob was trying to break up that fight, it wasn't successful, number one. I'm just saying. Thank you for that donation, T. James. He says, you remind me of my mom. She got into a scalpel fight, and I was a kid, still remember nobody called the cops either. Nobody called the cops. And I'm not saying that we need to operate how it was operating when I was growing up. We went through some rough stuff. Trust me when I say that. Growing up in the Bronx, we've been through some rough stuff. I didn't grow up in no rich area of the Bronx. I didn't grow up in Riverdale. I didn't grow up in White Plains. I didn't grow up in Parkchester. I didn't grow up in Williamsbridge. That's not where I grew up. I grew up in 190 in University. The Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, this many black folk. We were all family, whether you was Dominican, Puerto Rican, or African American, we was all family, and we fought each other all the time. Mamas fought each other, daddies fought each other, kids fought each other. We fought each other all the time. And then the next day we'd be playing with each other like nothing ever happened. But the cops didn't come through our block, because the cops was a danger to us. Because when the cops came through our block, something bad always happened. It's either you was getting choked up, or we all was going to jail, or we was getting our faces smashed into the concrete. Trust me when I say it. It doesn't matter if you was a woman. It doesn't matter if you was a man. It doesn't matter if you was a girl. It doesn't matter if you was a boy. Our faces was being smashed into the concrete by the 52nd precinct. Oh yes, do your research. The 52nd precinct was out of control. We got parents coming down. We had people that used to throw bricks off the roof of the building at cops. People used to throw hot water and hot oil down the windows at the cops. Like, we played no fucking games with the cops. Do you hear me? We played no games with the cops. Shit was coming off the roofs of the buildings to let the cops know you're not welcome here. Somebody said Kansas City in the building. What's up? What's up, Kansas City? I guess y'all did the same thing there, right? And I don't know why S. Runa Simmons is confused. Why are you confused? You get what I'm saying? That's why Martin is saying, yup. So I'm not the only one that lived this life, right? So here you are. You got 2 women outside. Thank you for that donation, E.T. You got 2 women outside getting in an argument. Jacob goes to break up the argument. And for some reason, in the interim, somebody calls the cops. And the cops showed up to the scene. Now, we don't know what happened right before the video hit record. We don't know what happened. Not yet. Not yet. And if the cop was wearing his body camera, if he had one on, and if it was on, then we will see what had led up to that. But the only thing we see from what we know on the camera is he's walking away from the cops. And to my understanding, the cops pulled out the gun to go taser him, and the taser gun that was not working. And he keeps walking to his car opens up the driver seat of his car to check on his children, to our understanding. And when he did that, you see a cop pull him by his wife beater. That's what we call it. I don't know what y'all call it where you're from, but in this neck of the woods, if you wear a white tee, a tank top tee with the stripes, the rib stripes, is considered a wife beater. But the cops pull him by his wife beater. I don't know why it's called that. I don't like the word, but that's what it is. And then you heard pop, 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 pop 7 times in his back. 7 times in his back. No gun, no fight, no tussle. 7 times in his back with his children in the car to witness this. See, and I started off by saying, I don't know if you guys understand what's really happening here. I don't know if you guys really understand psychologically what's happening here, but that's why I'm here today, to let you know. So now you have a man who gets airlifted by a helicopter to the hospital, who is later pronounced in critical condition and is paralyzed from his waist down, all because he went to break up a fight. All because he went to break up a fight. I don't know if you guys got it. He went to de-escalate a situation that was escalating between 2 women who are outside in the public arguing, who are outside in the public fighting, who are outside in the public arguing and fighting, and was not listening to the voice of this man, Jacob Blake, asking them to quell it, to stop the bullshit. So somebody calls the cops. I don't know who called the cops. And at this point, how I feel today, it don't matter to me who called the cops, but the cops came. See, here's why I have a problem. I'm about to get into all the other facts that I need to uncover so I can just go ahead and end this broadcast. But here's why I'm having a problem at. This is 2020. We have been through 1992 with Rodney King. We have been through, I mean, for those of you guys who that might be too far back, fine. I'll take it up to more current days. I know that you're not going to understand about Amadou Diallo. I know you're not going to understand. Not that y'all don't know about it, but I'm talking about not understanding of Sean Bell. I know those understandings of the understanding of that situation that happened. It's not going to ring relevant to some people because it's the 90s. So let me take it up to current day. You got Tamir Rice. You got, what was his name? Y'all gotta let me know in the chat. Was Jordan something, the one that got shot in the pickup truck for playing music? Remember him? Remember him? Him and his friends was in a pickup truck. And he was playing the rap music. They were playing the rap music, and the white guy came and he fired into the truck. You had him. Jordan Edwards, is that the name of him? Somebody saying Jordan Davis, somebody saying Jordan Edwards, but the truth is probably both of them existed, right? That's the truth is, because we get killed so much, we losing track of the names, right? We had Tamir Rice. We had, what's the one that started the Black Lives Matter? Yes, Yusuf Hawkins in Brooklyn. We had, yes, we had Aubrey. We had Jackson, absolutely. We had Michael Brown. We had, is it Trayvon Martin? That's who the name I'm thinking about. We had Trayvon Martin, Jordan Davis. Absolutely. We had all these people. This is way before where we are today. So all these people, all these accounts, it has taught us. What about the brother who had broke down on the road? And he called the cops to assist him because he broke down on the road. He called 911 and they shot him as he was walking back to his vehicle. What was his name? We had Oscar Grant. By police officers, right? There you go. Yes. I said Amadou Diallo, absolutely. Philando Castile. Come on, say their name. Breonna Taylor, say their name. Mia Wilson. What's our sister that got shot in her house? And that was the sister that went out. She went out like a warrior. What was her name? Oh, shoot, because I'm on this live. I can't come up with her name. She had the shotgun ready for their asses. And they took her out in front of her kids, but she was ready for their asses. What's her name? Come on. We had Egna. Yes, Eric Gardner. What's her name? Yes, we had Freddie Gray. You see, family? You see, family? Emmett Till, Sandra Bland, Corinne. Thank you so much. Corinne was her name. Corinne went out like a warrior. She was ready for them. But the point that I'm making is all of these incidents, hasn't ended up in anything good for us. That's right, Corinne Gaines. Hasn't ended up in anything good for us. So when I think about this 2020 incident in August, why were the cops even called? See, we talk about this all the time in these kind of channels. We talk about it all the time in Black medias. Why the freak was the cops called? That's right, Dr. Race Analyst. Too many for us to name. This is our story. But at the end of the day, why in the hell were the cops called? Why couldn't the women listen to this brother breaking up the fight? So I said I was going to get on the women. Tiana Taylor, I remember that one too. Laquan McDonald. Oh, that was a long case. Wasn't that a long trial? We got to know these names. And thank you so much for that donation, Cute Eyes. Yeah, Cute Eyes, Cedo. Thank you so much. Alton Sterling, absolutely. Why were the cops called? We don't have many positive cases for our news for why the cops were called. And I'm not saying, let me make this very clear. I'm not saying that Black people do not want access to the police. I'm saying we are at very sensitive times where the police ought to be our last resort. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying that we got to get somewhere in our heads that it is a danger to call the goddamn police. We have to recognize somewhere in our heads that calling the police might lead to someone being killed. And I'm not trying to scare you guys. I'm not trying to brand you guys with fear, but this is the reality that we are living in. And this reality is enforced over and over again. We have to get to a place in our community when we can hear the voices of the people in our community, when we don't have to call on alien forces to our community to solve any of our problems. So when I think about other communities, now you guys already know I live in primarily an Asian community. And the police here must have it freaking easy for their jobs. And not that they don't make busts. They make busts, but usually the drug dealers that they bust in this community are Russian, in this high-end African. It's not this petty hand-to-hand sales, because you can't be on the streets in this town selling nothing, because your ass to get caught in a second and get the fuck on out this town. That's what happened to you. But there's some real serious organized crime that goes on in these rich communities. Don't be fooled by it. Don't be fooled. We got a lot of stars that live in this community. We got a lot of athletes that live in this community. We have a lot of entertainers and performers, news anchors that live in this community for us in our population. But when the other populations, whether they're whites, those who identify white, those who are Asian, whether it's those communities, they do other type of things. They own their own businesses, work in Wall Street, whatever the case is. They have them things going on, but don't get it twisted. When ATF and Fort Lee police come through here, they busting those people for some real high ass crimes, and you ain't gonna find it on the news. You're not gonna find it on the internet. That kind of stuff is not gonna go down. I remember I came home one day and I couldn't get through my block, and I saw ATF everywhere. I saw snipers on the roofs of the school. I saw snipers on the roofs of people's houses, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? And the only thing I was worried about was my son, because I was coming home before he got released to school. But apparently they all got released early because my neighbors were Russian drug dealers at a high level. They were doing drug trafficking in and out of the different states, right? So interstate, federal level. ATF, DEA, FBI, and the local police was all in this guy's house. And they had rifles all pointing to his house. And they was treating me like I was a little piece of gum on the street, until I let them know I live right beside them. I live in that house right next door that you guys are pointing the guns toward, and my children are in there. And they let me go into my house. And they told me not to bring my behind outside. But here's what's interesting about that story. It never made the news. It never made the news. It was never in the papers. And trust me, I don't think the Russians or the Asians that live next door to me, or the Asians that lived around the corner, or the Europeans that live down a block, or the Africans, because we have a lot of immigrant Africans in this town, or the Africans that lived a few houses down. I don't think any of them called the cops. See, for some reason, in our community, we are the ones who are at danger of calling the cops. And when we call the cops, it don't always end right. Now, I'm not saying that all cops are bad, because those who have been following me for a while, you guys know I come from a cop family. So I'm not afraid of saying what it is, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell the truth, and I don't care two flying FUCKs, because when I was 11 years old in the 6th grade, I seen an officer shoot a man in Kingsbridge, in the Bronx, on Kingsbridge Road in the Bronx in 1990. Look it up if you want to. 1990, it had to be June or July of 1990 in Kingsbridge section of the Bronx. The guy jumped in a cab. The cop opened the cab door, bomb, popped him in the head right in front of me. And I was so afraid. Listen to what I'm saying, fam. I'm going somewhere with this. I was so afraid of my mother, who wanted to have the longest conversation with the news media about what she saw. And I don't know why, at 11 years old, I'm tugging on my mother's jacket and I'm saying to her, Mom, stop talking. Stop talking, because I was fearing the retaliation of my mother being on the news, being recorded, telling what happened that the cops said. Now, why at 11 years old? Why at 11 years old would I know? I'm going somewhere with this, family. Just pay attention. Why would I know at 11 years old that it was a danger for my mother to be on the news telling her story of what she witnessed of a cop who popped the man in his head in front of us, when I could see the crusted mark of the bullet in his head as blood poured out, and it looked like it burnt the entry of his skull when a bullet went in the back of this taxi cab. And I'm asking my mother, and I'm pleading with my mother not for her to go. The next few days, she sent me away to Florida, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I was so afraid that the cops were going to kill her and kill us. And I was 11 years old. Why would I know that at 11 years old? Why would I know that at 11 years old, that it was a danger for my mother to be talking to the news media for what she witnessed a cop do when he was out of bounds and out of orders? Why would I know that was a danger to our lives? Why would I be in fear? Why was I waking up every goddamn night, 1, 2, 12 in the morning, waking up afraid that a cop was coming to kill everybody in my house because my mother was snitching? At 11 years old, now you have this situation, Jacob Blake. The cops killed this man in front of his children. What message is this murder? Or not even a murder, we ain't gonna talk that out, because he survived it. So far, he survived it. This premeditated murder, that's what we're going to call it. What message is this premeditated murder sending to those young Black boys in the back of the car, watching their father bleed out in their presence? What message is being said? So we got to understand what happens here. We got to understand what is happening here. We got to understand the mindset and the condition. See, a lot of people say, now if y'all on my Facebook page, y'all know I control my trolls really well, my Facebook page. Every now and then I got trolls that slip through that I can't control. But you guys know my Facebook page, we are a true community, and I really do control those jokers, whether they're trolls, agents, it doesn't matter, white, Black. If they come through and they're acting stupid, either I'm going to put their asses on blast to embarrass them, and whatever y'all do to their pages, y'all do, or I'm going to block, ban, and delete them. Y'all already know how I operate. But the funny part is, every time a troll comes on, a troll makes it seem like we're playing victim. We are playing victim. We need to let bygones be bygones. We need to get over it. See, you got to understand that racism is a disease. It is a mental illness. Just like our traumatic responses to racism is a mental illness. Y'all hear me? So you got to understand, me as a young girl, 11 years old, having a traumatic response. I was having a mental breakdown at 11 years old. No one was able to tell me that. My mother didn't send me to therapy. She had no idea about that. My mother didn't know anything about no damn therapy. I was having traumatic responses. I was having PTSD. I was waking up in the middle of the night. Every time I saw a cop, I was afraid. I automatically knew not to disrespect the cop, or I might have a bullet in my head. So what do you think the message is that these officers are selling or telling without words to the children who watch their father bleed out in their presence? What do you think the message is? Because I know the message I received at 11. I know when I tugged on my mother's coat and I said for her to stop talking. I know the fear that I felt radiated through my body. I knew that I felt that this cop and his blue brothers, ain't no such thing as blue lives, but blue brothers was going to come after my family. You understand what I'm saying? I was scared for my life at 11 years old. So what do you think his children are feeling watching a helicopter come down, get their father to take him to the hospital? What do you think these children are feeling if they're brought to the hospital seeing their father lying there with tubes through him and he can't move his bottom? What do you think these children are feeling, and what message do you think the children has received? That's right, JN. JN said, don't get out of line or we'll get you next. That is exactly what I felt. That is exactly what I felt at 11 years old. So I can imagine what these young boys feel. I can imagine what they feel from them witnessing a cop trying to take their father out. Right? So we have this trauma that is radiating through our community. We know this. So when I'm getting back to the story and I'm asking the critical question, which might be rhetorical for some people, and that's okay. But when I'm asking the question, why would you call the cops? See, I learned at an early age, if you can avoid it in terms of calling the cops. See, I learned that at a very early age. If you can avoid it, avoid it. Now, if somebody's trying to kill your ass, absolutely, call the cops. I'm not going to tell you all of that, especially when you know anybody in your community is going to come and save your ass. Call the cops. I get that. But what I'm saying to you, I don't know about you, but I've been conditioned from a very long time, even among the cops in my family. See, this is something that we don't have conversation about. Even though I came from a cop family, do not ever get it mistaken that I remember my aunt and my uncle sitting us down, and I remember the conversation being, if a cop ever stop you from anything, you give them my badge number, you give them my precinct, you tell them to call me immediately. You say nothing to them. So if we were all in a cop family, and we were all safe, and we all was blue, why would my aunt have to tell me that? Why would my uncle have to tell me? Why would my aunt have to come pick us up from school and take her badge out of her vest and put it on the outside so every ass cracker would know that she was our family and we were untouchable? Why would she have to do that if we were all created equal? Because there were cops. I don't know what school district you guys came from, but in my school district, even when I was this big, there were gun protectors, metal protectors in our school. I don't know about your school, but in my school, we had to put our book bags even in middle school. And y'all know I'm in my 40s. So we had to put our book bag and metal detectors in middle school. So my aunt already knew what she was up against. And when she came to pick us up, because I came from one of those families, I'm an old school black person. Now, I ain't no boomer. No offense to my boomers, but I'm no boomer. But I have been raised by boomers. And I'm one of those old-fashioned ones, but I'm new age. But the old-fashioned one, we know that families stick together. Blood is thicker than water. And if you was going to fight one of us, you fighting all of us. That's how I grew up. All the cousins went to the same school, no matter what. We all traveled to the same elementary school. We all went to the same high school together, the same middle school together. We ain't playing no games. So you fought, and I was the fighter in the family. It was more like, oh, God, Sean's going to get in a fight again. I'm like, let's get it popping. You said what? Let's get it popping. I was that kind of person. So my cousins and my brother, they knew that if Shonna was going to pop off, everybody was popping off on the block. So when my aunt came to get us, she was sending a message that these kids was untouchable. But why would she have to do that among her brothers and sisters? See, I never thought about it when I was younger. But as I got older and I saw what my aunt went through, and I saw what my uncle went through, I saw what my cousin went through, and I saw my different family members who are police officers, what they went through, I already know that there's also division among them. And people that look like us is not readily accepted. Now they may have to walk the beat or do an investigation with their partners, but it doesn't mean that they are accepted. So don't let the bullshit fool you. Right? So when I sit back and I think about it, and I know, even though we came from a cop family, I know that certain things about police officers did not make me comfortable because I've seen what happened. So I knew calling the cops wasn't a good thing. So I can't reiterate enough. Thank you for that donation, Marvin. I cannot reiterate enough. Why were the cops called? Calling the cops cost this brother his life. Well, not his life, because he's not dead, but his life as he knows it is what I should say. Because as of today, we don't know what's going to happen a month, 2 months, 10 months down the line. But as of today, from what I'm hearing, he's paralyzed. This is somebody who was walking around with his children, doing his damn thing, black man raising his kids. As I know it now, today, he's been robbed of that portion of his life. Here's somebody saying Ebony Thompson. Now, y'all need to go to Ebony's page because I can't see Ebony's page. Because Ebony's saying no. And moderators, you can definitely delete and block her ass. But she says, he didn't comply. He caused himself pain. See, this is what I'm talking about when people like Ebony. Let's talk about people like Ebony. It's okay. We're going to talk about Ebony today. The off-code people like Ebony. We're going to talk about her, right? Now, I saw a video. As a matter of fact, I saw at least 2 videos, Ebony. I'm having a conversation with you, Ebony. I saw 2 videos in the last couple of days, Ebony, where white people, one had a knife walking after the officer who was a man, telling the officer that he was going to gut him like a pig and he was going to kill him. And the officer is running around his own goddamn patrol car, not doing anything, asking the guy to drop the goddamn knife. I'm just saying, Ebony. And then the other video that I saw was a female officer when a man was telling her that she wasn't going to do shit. She wasn't going to shoot him. And he was coming after her. And he told her that he was going to fuck her up. And she ran around that car and that shopping cart like 1,000 times before she popped his ass. Now, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, Ebony. Those people, Ebony, had weapons. I would call that not compliant. And the same shit didn't happen to them, Ebony. Nobody was grabbing on their jacket, Ebony, busting them in the back 7 times, Ebony. I don't know, Ebony. But with all due respect, Ebony, I personally think, Ebony, you won't get it until somebody puts witchcraft on your ass and your son gets popped in the back 7 times. Eye for eye. Maybe your son need to get popped in the back 7 times, Ebony, as he's walking to his vehicle to check on his children. And maybe, Ebony, your story might be different. Maybe somebody need to pop your son's ass, and maybe your story will be different. I don't know. I don't know, Ebony. I don't know, Ebony. I might have to pour some libations to the ancestors so they can be manifested in your life, Ebony, so you can feel how it feels, Ebony, to get popped in your back. Maybe we all need to be in this community and do a goddamn libations and call out to our ancestors and orishas so that Ebony can be put in a position where our pain and the pain of Jacob and his family and his children is manifested, and Ebony can lose people in her life that she loves. Fuck paralyzing them. Ebony needs to lose their asses. So maybe bullets need to be put off in Ebony's family. So she can experience the goddamn pain. I'm just saying. I believe in an eye for eye by any means necessary. I'm just saying, Ebony. Maybe some bullets need to pop off in your family members, your husband, your kids. We got some witches in the community, right? You're proclaimed to be witches. Y'all need to put some witchcraft on Ebony, put her ass in a bottle so Ebony could learn her goddamn lesson. I'm just saying. Right? I'm just saying. That's right. Ebony does need that hot fire. Absolutely. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Right, y'all? That's right. That's right. That's what I'm saying. His Abu say, Saleh, don't say that. Go ahead and sit down somewhere. Don't tell me not to say that. See, because I don't drink the kumbaya juice. I know what scripture says about manifestation. So don't tell me not to say that. I know that I am taught, watch what we say, because it will be manifested onto you. So don't tell me that. I'm not the one that said that he wasn't compliant. I wasn't the one that was showing empathy. I'm just saying maybe the ancestors need to show empathy, what it looks like to Ebony. That's what I'm saying. Maybe. Because some people just ain't going to get it. Maybe, just maybe, collectively as a community, we need to pull some libations. So those who are insensitive to our pain and those who are insensitive to the family of Jacob, maybe things need to be manifested in their life so that the one thing that they cannot show compassion to those who are least of them can be acted upon them to teach them a lesson. I'm of a God who teaches lessons. I'm just saying. You're right. Somebody said, why not use it on the police? Who said I don't believe that should not be used on the police? Who said I don't believe that? See, I'm going to tell you why that's not happening to the police, and I'm out of here because, I got 7 minutes and my show is over. I didn't even go over all the things I want to go over, but the things I want to go over is not even relevant. I'm going to show you right now why it's not used by us on the police. So see, here's the things that happen. That's right, Queen. Queen One Love, energy is energy. That's it. I'm just saying, people need to be careful about what they put out there. I'm just saying maybe. I'm not saying Ebony's going to get it. I'm not saying Ebony deserves it. I'm saying maybe if Ebony cannot comprehend it, that's what needs to happen. I don't know about y'all and where y'all from, but I know how my spirit talks to me. I just know if I roll my eyes too hard, or if I check somebody's too hard and my spirit talks to me and says, go back and apologize. I don't know about you. I don't know how about y'all operate, but I'm a spiritual being. And when my spirit tells me that I was too harsh, I go back and apologize to that person in which I offended. And I do it humble, in a humble opinion. I do it. I may have my little grunts talking to my God as I go back to say, I handled that wrong. I apologize. Whether I don't know you, whether you're family, friends, foe, enemy, it don't matter. I would do that if I'm wrong. If the spirit tells me to do it, I'll do it. The spirit is not telling me to do that with Ebony. The spirit is telling me to educate Ebony, to watch her goddamn words, and to learn compassion. So the kumbaya people who drink, that's right. There you go, Sheree. Ashe. Ashe, because we know what it is. We know what it is. But so many people are so conditioned by their savior, and y'all know who their savior is and how their savior looks, that blonde hair, blue eyes. You know, they're conditioned by their saviors. They can't see beyond the lessons that are being taught. They can't see beyond the lessons. That's right, cuz eyes. Yes, that's right. Karma is a bitch. And see, that's the thing. When you start talking about karma, then you wrong. Oh, that's so wrong, Dr. Shonna. Why am I wrong for bringing up karma? Why isn't karma the greatest bitch? Isn't that the lesson that we all learn through karma? Why am I wrong for indicating universal laws? Why am I wrong to letting you know the laws of reciprocity? Why I'm wrong for letting you know the energy that you put out is going to come back? I'm not saying I'm doing it. I'm saying maybe that's what needs to happen in order for the lesson to be told. I'm not wrong about it whatsoever. I'm saying maybe that's what's going to happen, because I don't know about where you came from, but God has taught me a lot of lessons. So when people meet me, they say, wow, Dr. Shonna, you're so humble. No, life has humbled my ass. Life has humbled me. I'm so humble. I'm flesh just like you. The only difference is I'm in alignment. That's the only difference. In alignment. And whoever is in my life that's out of alignment gets nixed. I don't care who you are. You can be my husband. I'll nix you. Because if you are out of alignment and you're bringing me out of alignment, you can't be in my space. That's how serious I am about my God. It's just as simple as that. Say what you want to say. But it sounds uncomfortable to your ears to hear the laws, the universal laws of reciprocity. That sounds uncomfortable to you. Maybe you need to check your alignment. Maybe you should make sure your spirit is aligned, because that was out of alignment, period. Somebody say, who is Ebony? Ebony gone. Ebony is somebody who going to get spooked. Ebony's not going to rest well tonight. I can tell you that, guys. I can tell you that right now. She's not going to rest. She's not going to rest well tonight. And it's okay. So before y'all talk about somebody's mother, somebody's father, somebody's children, better watch what you say, because it will come on you too. It's just simple as that. All of us. That's why I don't come on this platform and I don't talk shit about nobody. You know why? Because you can't beat karma. You cannot beat the universal laws of reciprocity. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. So here's what I want y'all to know. Somebody said Aquarius fire. You know I'm an Aquarius and you know I'm fire. And you add on that Sagittarius moon, I'll blow your whole goddamn house up. You already know how I am. But I just smile. Let me tell you why I believe we are in the situation that we are in. And I'm going to tell you this in 5 to 10 minutes and I'm out. It's called learned helplessness. Learned helplessness. Now, I told y'all the story about when I was 11 years old. I graduated 6th grade and I saw a police officer put a bullet in a man's head right in front of me as he was in the car. Now, he jumped the turnstile, as the story goes, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all can look up the article. And the police, as a punishment of jumping the turnstile in New York City, they decided to put a bullet in his head. I think it was like 90 cents or something like that at that time. That was in the 1990. I think it was 1990, June or July 1990, if I'm not mistaken. Popped him in the head with a bullet. Kingsbridge Road, Bronx, New York. Look it up. But as I was saying, at that very point, I learned at that time, what I learned was the cops are not your friend. What I learned at that time was try not to rely on them. This is at that time. I was 11 years old. It was 1990. I'm not saying that is the case. I'm saying that's what I learned at that time. No matter what you do, you're not safe around them. And that was only one incident. Of course, I've seen other incidents after that has happened that woke my eyes up like, whoa, they're not for our community. I already saw that shit. When, like I told you at the beginning of the video, when they told my uncle to go back in his house or he was going to get arrested while they was harassing us on the porch of my uncle's house. Now, how you harassing us on the porch of my uncle's house, and my uncle comes down and say, why are you bothering our kids? What is the problem? And the cop tells my uncle to take his ass back in the house, or he was going to be arrested. And my uncle was a science teacher in a New York City public school. In a New York City public school, science teacher told him to go take his ass back in the house, or he was going to get arrested, while the cops was harassing us and had us facing a wall, patting us down on our property. You don't see that's a problem? You don't see that's a problem? Right? It's a problem. See, because learned helplessness, you got to understand what learned helplessness is. It is a state in which nothing a person opts to do affects what is happening. I can fight back all I want. I can comply with the cops. I can turn around. I can walk. I can say yes. I can say no. I can get in the car. I can be all these things. I can say I didn't do anything, officer, and it does not guarantee that I'm going to walk away alive. I can get out of my car. I could be upset. I can go into the prison. I can be hanged in the prison. And then they will tell the story that I hung myself, even though there was no evidence, Sandra Bland, no evidence that that kind of behavior was exhibited in my life. And I would be blamed for my own execution. And the world will believe, because what the media puts out, when I'm asking why are you pulling me over, even though there's countless white people that ask the same goddamn thing 10 times worse, throwing IDs on the car, calling up officers all types of names, driving off, having officers trace them, and they all end up alive. But if I'm seeing my brothers and sisters being killed all day, the message, whether I am the little kids of Jacob Blake sitting in the back of the car that witnesses their father become severely injured due to police violence, or if I'm the 11-year-old Shonna, aka Dr. Shonna, shopping with her mama in her neighborhood and see somebody shot in the head and killed right in front of her by a cop, what I am told, what these little kids are told, is that nothing you do, whether it's true or not, this is what we're told. See, it doesn't matter if the image or the message you receive is true or not. It's a message that you receive. It's a message that takes root in the subconscious of your mind. It programs you. Right? This is from Dr. Seligman and Dr. Meyer. They came up with this back in 1967, and the theory has since been built upon because they were two researchers that was researching animals in the lab. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to have to fact check me on this, I think they started off with dogs. And if I'm not mistaken, whenever the dogs did something, they administered a shock. And after the dogs received enough shocks from trying to escape, the dogs stopped trying to escape. And then they turned off the shock. And the only thing the dogs had to do was escape, was to jump over the door as opposed to going through it. And what they decided to do is to stop trying altogether, because what they figured from the first few rounds of shock, that no matter what we try to do to get out of this room, we're going to get shocked and we're going to give up trying. Oh, maybe some of you guys are not hearing me. That's right. That's right. Kelly says slavery. Absolutely. Maybe some of you guys are not hearing me. Let me put it to this. How many of y'all got pets? How many of y'all have been training your pets? I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a dog lover like you guys are. Some of you guys are real serious dog lovers, but I love animals. I'm not going to hurt animals. But I had a beagle. And if you know about beagles, they howl. and they bay. So baying is a certain call that they do because they're used to roaming. They are hunting dogs. And I had a beagle, and anytime I went to work and my kids went to school, he was in the kennel, and he didn't like being in that thing. So he would howl and howl, and I wasn't supposed to have dogs in his apartment complex. And somebody would call the cops on me, right? They would call the cops because my dog would be howling, and they wanted the apartment managers to put me out. That's what they wanted them to do. So I couldn't leave my apartment, not being a mom. And I was recently divorced. So I couldn't leave the apartment with my kids to keep a dog. And at the same time, my kids wanted a dog. So I got them a dog. So in order for me to control the howling and the baying of my beagle, I went and I got a little shocker. And you can go get it at Petco. I use it myself. I put it on me myself. It's a small little shock. It doesn't hurt them, but it does shock them. And I put a little shocker around his neck, and I would put it on his windpipe. So the minute he went to howl or bay, it was administer a shock to him. And eventually it taught Maximus, that was his name, it taught Maximus not to bark. Then I was able to go to work and not put Maximus in the kennel, and he could roam the apartment because he knew that if he bayed or howled, he was going to get shocked. So he learned to give up trying to do what was natural for him. His dog instincts is to bay and to howl. So he learned to give it up because he knew if he tried to be a dog and he tried to howl and he tried to bay, he was going to get shocked. And the shock caused him much confusion and I guess pain to some extent. I guess they say it doesn't hurt. I don't know. I'm not a dog. But I guess it was so much discomfort for him that he chose not to even do it. So when I removed the collar off his neck, Maximus didn't even know the collar was gone. He still decided not to bark, not to howl, not to bay. Bay. And if somebody ring the doorbell, Maximus would stop barking. He would just go to the door and he would wag his tail and he was way outside the door and he would look at us and he would run to the room to get us to tell us that somebody was at the door. That is not a dog's human response. I mean, not human response. That's not a dog's natural response. A dog is supposed to bark. A dog is supposed to growl. A dog is supposed to howl if he howls. A dog is supposed to bathe. But it's certain things that dogs are supposed to do. But we taught Maximus to be quiet and look at us and come to the room and get us and wag his tail and come and just tell us that somebody is at the door where he could have just been at the door barking. But we taught him that his voice was not wanted, his voice was not appreciated, his voice was not valued, and his voice would get him punished. So what do you think is happening when you shoot children's father, aunt, uncle, cousin, neighbor, human in front of them at young ages as they see their father fall and bleed? Somebody said, poor Maximus. That's what white people do. Silk Team 46, that's what white people do. They're the ones who told me about it. My neighbor was like, maybe you should get him a trainer. So what's that? A collar is a trainer. It doesn't hurt. It's a little shocker, and it trains them. It teaches them we only bark in emergencies. Oh, they got one of those things out there? Yeah, absolutely. That's how I got my dog trained. Because everybody was lying in that complex. Everybody had pets, and they weren't supposed to have pets. But the only thing is, everybody else's pets was trained, and Maximus was being Maximus. So why do I tell you that? I'm telling you about learned helplessness because if every time something happens and we think the system is supposed to work on our behalf because all men are so-called treated equal, are created equal, right, and should be treated equal, but we're supposed to be created equal. If that is the case, if the law applies to all people in America who are Americans, which we are, if the law applies to us, then when there's injustice, we should be protected under the law, but it's not. So what do you think that teaches us? It teaches us to shut the fuck up. I'm sorry, did I curse? Did I curse? Let me say that differently, just in case some ears couldn't hear me. It teaches us to shut the hell up. It teaches us not to bark, not to howl, not to bay. Right? It teaches us that, not to do that. Learned helplessness is the quitting or giving up response that follows the conviction that whatever a person does doesn't matter. So once your brain, whether it's true or false, but once your brain begins to believe that no matter what you do, it doesn't matter, what follows that response is quitting or giving up. I need us to activate our brain. I need us to recognize that when we are in our communities, this is what I need for y'all. I don't know if y'all want to do it, but this is what I need. When we are in our communities, unless it's absolutely necessary, the police should be the last resort. That should not be a place where we call. Because nothing has proven it to be effective for us. So we got to start waking up. We got to start feeling like we're helpless. Like we can't patrol our own communities. Do you know how many other people patrol their own? Let me say something about the community I live in. Now, I told you at the beginning of this video. I told you in other videos. I'll tell you again. I live in a predominantly Asian community. And usually the people that get the cops called on them are usually white people. White people. White people doing some crazy stuff. And a lot of white people in my town are drug dealers. Like they're here illegally. They're living in $5,000 houses. Like the houses here are crazy. They're living in $5,000 a month housing and they don't have any jobs. So the cops automatically know that they're drug dealers or something illegal. And the cops start to watch them. And when they get enough proof, ATF and FBI, they rain down and everything is private. Next thing you know, those people locked up. They probably get let go. Who knows? I mean, the mafia in this town, when he came off of his sentence, however long he was on the sentence, that the property that he owned, he had transferred over to his mother before he got sentenced and did his bid. And when he came back, his mother sold it back to him for $1 or some crap like that. And they built this multi-million-dollar industry on it. We got a movie theater now in that town. We have some big high-rise buildings where all the Love and Hip Hop stars live and Safari lives and all these goddamn rich people live there. And this is an Italian mafia guy. It was in the papers. Look it up. You don't got to believe me. Look it up. It's Italian mafia. It's property that they own. It owns them. And look at what they got now. So it happens everywhere. But not everyone is getting shot. And not everyone is being killed. But in our community, we're being shot and we're being killed because, in my opinion, we are being conditioned. They're letting us know exactly what our parameters are, what we can do and what we cannot do. So if you let us know long enough that your ass will get killed, your ass will get beat down, your ass will get arrested, we learn to stop fighting, to stop fighting back. And you know what kind of learned helplessness, family, is generally seen in people who battle depression. Those are the people who seem to have given up hope. So if you really think about our community, whether we like to admit to it or not, our community is filled with people that are exhibiting signs of PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, PTSS, post-traumatic slave syndrome. We got people that are experiencing depression, anxiety, traumatic stress responses. We have that all through our community. And when they're suffering with these psychological responses to the trauma and the pain that they're receiving, why would they fight back? Do y'all hear me, family? Why would they fight back? Because the message that they are receiving every goddamn day is no matter what you say and no matter what you do, nothing is going to change. So I had to ask myself, who called the cops? And then I said, why I'm asking myself that question? Why are you asking who called the cops? Because these people, whoever called the cops, is acting off a reaction. They're acting off of emotion. It's something that they've been doing for some reason. It's not clicking. That in this day and age, in this stage right now, until we get what we're fighting for, the cops should be your last reaction. What is happening in a community when y'all cannot control two women fighting? What is happening when our community cannot control two women popping off? That we have to call the cops. I know some people don't like to hear this. I agree with you, Silk Teen. Stop calling the damn cops. I agree with you. I agree with you. But for some reason, Silk Teen is not being transferred. So you guys got to tell me. You guys got to tell me, why do you guys think that we keep calling the cops? See, because psychologically, I feel we've been conditioned and trained to do so. Psychologically, I feel our community primarily has been conditioned and trained to do so. I typically don't see people calling the cops where I live at. See, one time I posted, and I think it was on my Facebook page, we have community outings. We haven't been having it since COVID, but we have community outings. We all come out. We all get to meet each other. The cops are there. Our children engage with the cops, and I make sure my children engage with the cops. I think I told you guys before. I take pictures with the cops, and people think that I'm taking the pictures because I love the cops. I don't hate the cops, but I don't take the pictures because I love the cops. I take the pictures I want the badge number and the name in the face. And I shake my hands with the cops, and I let them know who I am, and I let them know who my children are. And they know who I am. One time my son got in a fight, the little boy got his ass whooped, because even the kids are trained to call the cops. Bitch ass kids. They trained to call the cops. They start fights, start the bullies. My son whipped his ass. The little kid didn't want to call the cops. All the other kids in the basketball court said, no. He was protecting himself. This person did X, Y, and Z. Long story short, I had to come down to the precinct to get my son. And they know who I am. They know my son. They know who I am. And when I walked in, they said, wait, Mrs. Etienne, before you go crazy, he was respectful. He didn't do anything. He's not in any trouble. I just want you to know that. And I said, okay, where is he at? They was like, I just want you to know that. He's not in any trouble. Don't get mad at him. We have a rapport. He was respectful. Don't get mad at him. I said, okay, no problem. Right? But why did that happen? Because they know who I am. And they know who my kids are. And every year I make sure they remember who I am. And every year I make sure they remember who my kids are. But not every community has that luxury. Thank you for that donation. So the Swoovia says, this type of oppression is going to produce two types of blacks. Those who will raise up and the ones that will cower. Us as B1 get the wonderful task of weeding them out. Absolutely get the task of weeding them out. That's what we're doing right now. But before we even weed them out, we have to see if they even understand what's happening. We don't call the cops unless you have to. And even when people hear people who look like me say stuff like that, they think we're teaching you something that's stupid. Or why would you tell your kids that? We're not teaching you anything that's stupid. I have lived in so many communities. And the only community that I have ever lived in where I see us call the cops for every goddamn thing, to tell you the truth, is our communities. Where we are not even liked in our own goddamn communities. I'm just telling you the truth. Now, I can just tell you it's like that where I live at in the East Coast. Maybe it's not like that where you live at, but I'm just telling you. I have lived in predominantly white communities. I have lived in predominantly Asian communities. I have lived in predominantly Hispanic communities. Unless a woman was getting her ass beat in the Spanish community. Nobody was calling the cops. I had lived in those communities. I had lived in the Bronx. I am raised by Dominicans and Puerto Ricans all my life when we all eat in each other's apartments. I can wake up in the morning and go right downstairs to Lloyd's house and get some coffee and some rice and some salad and some eggs, and I can eat and I can still go home and no one is calling the cops. But for some reason, some of us, not all of us, some of us gets it, but too many of us are too comfortable calling the cops. That's right, Alexandria. Cafe Bustelo, you already know I got some in my kitchen. You already know I got my sazon, I got my sofrito. You already know. Cops wasn't coming. Cops wasn't coming. Let me tell you, when the cops did come to our block, garbage cans off the roofs, hot water off the roofs, hot oil off the roofs, wilding out. But for some reason, in our communities, we calling the cops because two women are engaged in a fight. This is what we're doing? And a young black brother is now paralyzed, shot in front of his children. This is what we're doing? This is what we're doing? Learn helplessness. Learn helplessness. Let me tell you something. Learn helplessness is considered a consequence of early socialization experiences. I'm not making this stuff up. Go ahead and research it for yourself. It is a consequence of early socialization experiences. We have been socialized enough to depend on them. We are dependent on so many forces. It's not even funny. We can't even make a decision with withholding our presidential vote and voting down ballot. We can't even make that decision because we're so dependent on thinking this Democratic political party is going to save us. We're dependent on it. We're conditioned. Learn helplessness. You can't do it yourself. You got to depend on them. You can't do it yourself. Depend on them. You can't do it yourself. We're so conditioned to do it. Call the cops to come in to help you. We're so conditioned to do it. Ask them to give you a pardon. We're so conditioned to do it. You know what learned helplessness does? It's designed particularly to erode our self-esteem. Erode that. It leads us to learned helplessness. That's what it does. It teaches us that we cannot do it on our own. We cannot police ourselves on our own. We cannot solve our problems on our own, our disputes, our fights. We cannot do it on our own. The same people that oppress us and kill us, we need them. Isn't that freaking sick in your head? Isn't that a form of learned helplessness? It's so crazy. It's so crazy. How do the same people who have been killing you, you see it every day on the news, you become so desensitized that you don't even register in your head that calling a cop might result to a death sentence on your block. It's crazy. Why is it that we can't understand that we have everything we need to effectively police our own communities? If we pull together, thank you for that donation, Frankie. Says time to break the cycle. Absolutely. What is it? Why can't we see that we can police and control our own? Every other community does it. How many of y'all live in other communities? Don't act like you're all living in full black communities. Come on, let's not act like that in 2020. Let's not act like that. How many of you guys live in other communities where you see people in those communities in which you live, you see people do some bullshit and the cops don't get called on them? Come on, let's be honest. right? Somebody said mixed, 15% black, 15% is not a lot. So David, in your community, 15% black. How often do you see the cop intervening in everything? How often do you see the cops come in? How often do you see the cops getting called? See, Lakeisha said Indians, never. Come on. How many of y'all are familiar? I know somebody mentioned Yusuf here, so you know about Brooklyn. How many of y'all are familiar with the Jewish communities in Brooklyn? Do you know that not only do they police their own communities, they have their own emergency responses, whether it's medical or what have you, they have their own responses. They house their own people. And trust me, when I say they're peoples, don't ever get it twisted. And y'all can't say that I'm speaking stuff that's racial divide and racial tension and racist, because I'm not. I'm telling you the truth. It all could be evidenced and backed up and pull your receipts. But how many of you guys know in the Jewish community, they house their own communities and they make sure they help their people who do not have the money get Section 8 welfare, they are the queens of Section 8. They are the queens of welfare. Let's not get it twisted. Let's not get it twisted. And they get their Section 8 and their welfare to give it to their own people who own the land that they live in. So the people who own the building and they will rent from their own people under Section 8 welfare, and their people get the check. And guess what? They don't call the cops. They don't go through all that fighting. Don't make no mistake. Don't assume that domestic violence don't happen in the community, because it does. Don't assume they don't get into little arguments and fights with each other, because they do. Don't assume that there's no molestation in their community, because it is. Don't make those mistakes that people don't be getting their asses beat, women don't be getting their asses beat in their community, because they do. They do. They do. They do. But how often is the cop called? I'm just saying. That's right. Somebody said they drink heavily. Yes, they do. I've seen it all. How often are the cops called? They don't call the cops. They don't. How many of you guys have ever lived around Arabs? I have. I have. And they are some gangster people. Can I tell y'all? From the communities I lived in, I'll be like, well, damn, Muhammad fighting again? Muhammad be tearing it up. And they just angry. They don't call no cops. They take care of each other. She can get her ass beat tonight, and every woman in the building come down and console her. And I'm not saying she shouldn't call the cops. I don't want you to, because I do not take domestic violence lightly. I'm one of those. I do not take. Let me tell you something. Put your hands on me. I'm calling Brooklyn, New York. Fam, I need y'all to come the fuck through. Fuck this nigga up. I become really gangster. So I ain't never been in that kind of situation with my family. No. If you even look at me, fam. Now he here. He gonna go to sleep. You coming through? He ain't gonna leave. He don't know I'm on the phone with you. All right. I'm just doing a lot. All right. See you soon. That's how it would go down. I wish a dude would. That's how it would go down. I'll get in the bed like nothing happened. Family come through. Family come through. I wake up like, whoop. Ain't calling the cops. Ain't nobody 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 calling the cops. So why is it? I'm just saying, no, that never happened in my family, but I know my family. It never happened with me. Has it happened in my family? Has it happened in the family, but not with me? But you know, my cousins call. People come through. I'm just saying, you can't be touching women in my family. We don't play them games. We don't play them games. You can't be touching. You can't even do this to a woman in my family. We be like, he did what? We be like, yo, where has that? He there? All right. Y'all got to come through. Now I can't tell you this over the phone. You got to come through. Yeah, I'm home. All right. All right. Matter of fact, I ain't going to text you the address. Meet me at 190 in Kingsbridge. I'm going to come through. All right. Bet. All right. Nah, I'm be with so-and-so. All right. What time? All right, cool. Bet. One. Call my girlfriend. You ready? Now we gotta come through. We're gonna meet them on Kingsbridge. Now, because we gotta show them how to get there. They don't remember how to get there. We can't do that. Nah, don't send me no text messages. I'm coming through. Anybody calling the cops? Anybody calling the cops? Anybody calling the cops? Y'all laughing, but I'm serious. Y'all know how it goes. Anybody calling the cops? Who calling the cops? Who calling the cops? But if we say that, we wrong. If we say in our community, we wrong. See, they want us to be dependent on the forces that kill us. They want us to be dependent on the forces that are murdering us. But the Asian community don't be calling the cops. The Indian community don't be calling the cops. The Arab community don't be calling cops. Typically speaking, usually the Hispanic community don't call. Usually the Hispanic community don't call the cops. But we supposed to call the cops? What kind of death trap is that? Here's what I gotta say to y'all. We gotta overcome this learned helplessness. I know I'm like a half an hour over. Sorry about that, y'all. Somebody said that's G. We already know how it goes. So we know how it goes. Ain't no G. It ain't no G. If you from NYC, it ain't no G. It's just how it goes. It's just how it goes. If you ain't got somebody that you can call on like that, I feel sorry for you. If you ain't got somebody who's gonna have your back 100, let me tell you something, baby. One of my friends was having issues with her in-laws, and they was in another part of New York. I ain't gonna tell y'all where. And they wanted to act like they weren't giving her son back. That 3-hour drive, we took that, and the car was packed. We took that. We was like, what? Not giving the son back? Yo, gotta take a trip. You gonna be outside? Nah, can't tell you that. Situation. Nah. Yes. Yes, that person. Yes. I. Nah, we ain't come back tonight. Pack your bags. Yes, it's like that. I. One. Playing no games? We tight in my family. We roll deep in my family. I don't need no friends. I got cousins. I got cousins. We don't need no friends. New friends? The friends I had for 32 years. Friends? I don't need no new friends. I got the same friends I had when I was 10, 11 years old. Friends? Psst. What? We got family. What you mean? Coming through. Somebody said get that drop. I'm telling you, we got shit. I love being from New York. I don't care what anybody said. The kind of stuff I be seeing that happen in all other areas around the West. I'm like, what the hell is happening? Y'all calling the cops to bring up 2 heifers fighting? What? Nobody could have grabbed one of them heifers by their neck, pull them back. Y'all got 2 women fighting. Cops being where? That's Wisconsin. Where y'all do that at? Where they do that at? Right? I'm just trying to say. Somebody said, what is a friend? What is a friend? If you've been in my family for 30 years, you are no longer a friend. You are family. Friend, you got beef, I got beef. You got a problem, I got a problem. What you mean, friend? Friend? We don't do that. We don't do that. We don't need no new friends. People try to come in our group all the time. Everybody be side-eyeing. You know her? I don't know her. Who friend is that? Her friend? We invited her. We ain't invited her. Why? Because I don't like her. Why you like her? Her vibe. Her vibe is wrong. All right, she ain't coming. She ain't coming. New friends. We don't need that. Right? Somebody said, so Big Mama didn't step in. I don't know. I don't know who on their block. I don't know. I can't talk about who on their block. But what I can tell you is that with all jokes aside, I know, I know y'all think I'm joking, but far from it. People from New York City know we ain't joking. People from my block be watching me all the time. If I'm lying, they'll be on here right now telling your asses I be blind. I ain't joking. I ain't joking. We ain't got time for all of that stuff. Right? We ain't got time for that stuff no more. But what I'm saying to you guys is we have learned to be helpless. We have learned to give up trying. We have gotten shocked so many times that we just give up trying. And we have so many people that don't want to hear the truth in our community. We got people who are spitting the truth all the time, trying to teach people, don't do this. But for some reason, people are drinking kumbaya juice. For some reason, people are so comfortable living in lies. For some reason, people like to think in their heads. And I get it. I understand why you want to think things have changed. I understand why you think things has gotten better. I understand why you want to think that. But where's the evidence at? Because your one anecdotal experience is telling you that things go. Where's the evidence at? Where's the evidence at? What happened to the days when you would come through and just by the strength of your family name, they knew who you were? The Butler Jones Alamos. No matter if you was in Queens, you said Alamos, people knew who we were. The Bronx, you said Butlers, people knew who we were. You said Jones in Queens, Brooklyn, people know who we were. Whatever happened to those days where communities really ruled communities, where families really ruled? Come on. So you don't. I'm getting out of here. I am 36 minutes over. I'm 36 minutes over. We got to do better with how we are managing our communities. You should know who your neighbors are. You should know who your neighbors' kids are. You should know who everybody is who's coming into your community. What happened? What happened that we have lost that? What happened with that is not the norm anymore? I need help understanding that. Even in the community that I am, these kids let their kids go to wherever they want. Not me. I'll be like, hello? Yeah, hi. Yeah. Yeah, this is Dr. Etienne. I'm so-and-so's mom. Are you going to be home? Okay. Yeah. I'm going to be driving him over. Since I haven't met you, I would like to meet you so that we can make sure we can just look out for each other's kids. I know who your son is. I'm always looking up for him. I think it's time for you to know who I am. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll be over there shortly. Thank you. I look forward to meeting you. Bye. I'm not playing any games. What happened to community? What happened to community? You can't tell me it doesn't exist anymore. I know people say, but things are different. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. In the community that I live in, everybody is nosy. Everybody want to know who mama is, what their mama do, what their father do, who their kid known as. Oh yeah, that's her son. Oh, that was his sister too. Everybody want to know. Thank you so much for that donation, C Iron. That's right. That's right. C Iron said the crime bill and the government destroyed families. Learned helplessness. We have been taught that no matter what we do, we cannot win, and we believe it. I don't believe it. I believe the time is now for us to take back our power. The time is now. We have to push back by independence. We have to show our independence. We got to stop depending on these people to take care of us. Period. We got to stop depending on everyone to have our back when we don't even have our own backs. You cannot go, listen, make no mistake, I'm ADOS every day, all day. Well, as a matter of fact, I identify as Pan-African, but I'm ADOS. I'm ADOS, right? Meaning, listen, lineage matters, period. But I can support everybody in their dreams and their endeavors and whatever they're doing. I only ask that you support me too. And if you don't support me, you're dead to me. It's just serious as that, right? But the point that I'm making here is, listen, Growing up in a Hispanic community in the Bronx, Dominicans, that's how I've learned the language. Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Jamaicans, and some African Americans. That's what they called themselves at that time, African Americans. Some, when I say some, this many lived in the community. Usually, when you see me post any pictures about my childhood friends, my childhood families, you're going to see so many different faces that's going to reflect who we are. That's how it is in New York City. Many other people don't get the experience that we got in New York City. Many other people, for me traveling the world, and those of you guys who have met me in different areas, Selma, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, California, y'all met me everywhere. The thing is, those communities does not live or experience, and I'm not taking anything away from those communities. I'm just saying there's nothing like New York City. I just got to say that. There is nothing like New York City. So I know when you go into Hispanic communities, and maybe because of the culture and the language, I've been able to maneuver in and out of those communities undetected, come out, boom, nobody know nothing. I just move like a snake right through those communities, right? They don't call the cops on each other like that. They don't. They don't call the cops on each other. We don't need to do it. We don't need to do it. We can really be independent. We can really be independent. What's happening? We can really be independent. But here's the difference between a lot of those communities that I've lived in and communities that I work in. So I'm always stationed in my own communities. My business is in my community. All the work I do is in my community. Everything. I mean, I can get caught out of my house tonight at 12 o'clock in the morning. Somebody's going through a crisis, and I'm going to show up because they know who I am. I'm going to show up. I'm going to help them as best as I can, right? But the situation is, when I go into this community, I see so much, and I'm not saying everyone's community is like this. Don't get in your bag. I'm not saying everybody's community experience. Going to a lot of our communities, there's low self-worth. It's like they don't see themselves as valuable. And I got to be in there, not only healing their mind, but also building up their confidence. Low self-worth. They have low self-compassion. They don't mind feeding the whole family, feeding the whole block, taking care of everybody else, but they don't take care of themselves. How are you not going to have self-compassion for who you are? Low self-compassion. Low self-control. Emotions are out of control. Let me tell you something. Today I went into a store. I wanted to check out this store that everybody was talking about in Newark, New Jersey. Thank you for that donation, Marvin. They said they're supposed to defund the police. We'll see what happens. I went into this store in Newark, New Jersey, where they allegedly got soul food for breakfast. And the owners are Asian. So you already know I felt some kind of way that people are in this store buying grits from an Asian person. So I said, let me see what these people are ordering. Let me see how this crap tastes. So I went in there and I'm watching how they're moving. There's one guy at the counter. He got mad at me, but I don't care if he got mad at me. I'm going to talk to my sisters and brothers. And he is yelling, older man. He had to be about 60 years old, 65 years old, yelling at the top of his lungs that this little Asian woman got it wrong and that's not what he ordered. He's angry. He got so much energy. He was so angry. And I watched this go on for a long time and nobody is saying nothing. It's about me, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 other people plus him. So me, him is 2 women is 4, and them 2, 6 people in there. And nobody's saying nothing to this man. He's going off like a 10-day alarm clock. She corrected the order. He's still yelling at her at the top, dysregulated, emotions out of control, no self-control whatsoever, creating a very hostile environment and creating a very threatening environment for this lady. Now, you already know she's in our community. You ain't got no weapon. You ain't about nothing. You just yelling and screaming. This woman would have pulled out a gun and popped you in your head. What was you going to do? So he yelling and he's screaming. I said, beloved, are you mad at breakfast? That's what I said to him. So, you mad at breakfast? No, but I told her. I said, whoa. Beloved, I want to hear you, but I can't hear you if you're screaming. But I'm saying, why she messed up my order? I said, did she fix it? She did, but she shouldn't have messed. I said, beloved, you are yelling. You are creating a hostile environment for everybody in here. These women are waiting to order. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I said, whoa. If you are that angry, why are you giving this Asian woman your money? Get the fuck out of here. I said, I'm not going anywhere. You can answer the question or you can leave. He left. He didn't answer my question. He left. That's what a lack of self-control looks like. Where are you going with that kind of behavior? What are you going to do with that kind of behavior? Who's going to listen to you with that kind of behavior? When he left, the girls in front of me was like, thank you for saying something to him. He, man, getting out of here. Go here, acting stupid. All that, but nobody said nothing to this man. Nobody said nothing to him. I said, what is going on in our community when we fear speaking to our own? When we fear checking our own, when we fear having a conversation with our own, what is going on in our community when we can't talk to our sisters and brothers? Yeah, he told me F me. But I bet you he left that store yelling all that yelling and screaming. What you doing all that for? And I was just sitting back there just watching. I want to watch how they move. That's what you do when you're a researcher. You just go into environments and you just watch. I sat there for a while, then I went outside the store and I sat in my car. I sat in my car for like an hour and I'm watching how people are engaging, how they're moving, and they're dead. The walking dead. I got to get on out of here. I'm too late. Gotta go. The walking dead. Nobody's paying attention to anything. Everybody's afraid of everybody. Everybody is threatened by everybody, and everybody ignores everybody. That is a problem. That is a problem. That is a problem. And for some reason, we don't see that as a problem. I remember I was walking, again, Newark, New Jersey. Y'all can look up Newark if you don't believe me. I'm walking down Newark, New Jersey. I'm walking down, not Academy. It's a street right before Academy, Washington, and Raymond. I'm walking down Raymond Boulevard. And I said to this one black woman, she had her little, I should have known, I wasn't trying to judge nobody, but she had her little do-rag or whatever it is that some women wear on their heads. I don't know. She had a little do-rag on that I used to wear when I was 16 when I had my doobie in with the pins, do-rag. She looking like she 45 years old with damn do-rag on. But nonetheless, she was walking down the street with do-rag. And I said, good morning, beloved. She said, fuck you. I don't know you. Fuck you. Fuck you saying good morning. I don't know you. I said, okay, beloved, have a blessed day. Fuck you and your blessed day. I said, okay, beloved, have a blessed day. And I kept on walking. Dead. 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 We have been so conditioned, learned helplessness, that we feel that no one is there to help us. No one is there to listen to us. No one is there in our community to save us. Everybody in our community is a target. Everybody in our community is an enemy. That's how we've been conditioned. We've been conditioned that way. I'm out of here. Somebody said, laugh out loud. I'm serious. That's what she said to me. I said, good morning, beloved. She said, fuck you. I don't know you. Good morning, beloved. And I stay calm, but this is what I experienced. This is what happens. This is what happens. And now, am I lying? Guys, do y'all not experience this whatsoever? Do y'all not experience this whatsoever? This is some crazy stuff. That's right. LG said no lies. We got to talk about the truth. We don't want to talk about the truth. This is crazy. Somebody said all the time. This is what it is. Right? Fresh and Sassy says, yes, I have. Silk Teen said, yes, indeed. Michael said all the time. DJ 313 Detroit says, yes, yes, sister. This is what happens. DJ Black said, you're so right. We're not all from the same area. Sean Scott said, absolutely. We're all from different areas. We all experience the same thing. Something is wrong in our community. When are we going to wake up? When are we going to wake up? Something is wrong in our community. And until we wake up, until we start demonstrating self-love, self-respect, self-worth, self-compassion, until we start understanding what B1 really means, race first, until we start really understanding what those concepts are, until we start understanding that we have everything we need to stay alive, until we start understanding that, until we understand what is needed, what are the steps that are needed. Some of us are very political. We have to support them. It is not about whether you like your political brothers and sisters. And I'm not talking about your kumbaya juice drinking mother freakers. I'm talking about those of us who are going for reparation, who are going for laws, who are getting us a status. Those of us who are fighting the good fight. You got to support them. You got to support them. Those who are in business, you got to support them. Those who are Black educators and they're trying their best to market their business as homeschoolers, you got to support them. We have everything we need. Thank you for that donation, Taylor. We have everything we need to survive. And until we start seeing each other as brothers and sisters and as community, we're going to lose. We're going to lose, family. We're going to lose. We have to understand that everyone sees our division. We have to understand that we are a threat to ourselves. We have to understand that it's time for us to say no more. We're not political pawns. We're not going to be a punching bag. We're not going to be your shooting range targets. We're not going to be any of those things. We have to understand that there are things that are going on in our community that are no longer conducive. I kid you not. An Asian man in this building came home pissy ass drunk, hit this girl's car who was in the parking lot sitting in her car with his big ass F-250. Y'all know what an F-250 is? Usually people in this area don't drive no goddamn F-250s. He's just that cocky. That's a cocky American car, to say the least. Everybody in here is a Lexus. Everybody in here is in a Benz, a BMW, a Volkswagen. This is the cars that you got in our community. We like a parking lot ready to happen for people to come and boost our cars. We just live in one of them communities. He got this big ass F-250, comes home drunk, comes through the gated community. He pulls up, bashes the front of her car. She calls the cop. She's crying. She's all over the place. I live across the street from the police station, so they came in 2.5 seconds. Because, they ain't got nothing else to do. So you call the cops in this town. If the cameras don't pick you up, that's how Safari got his chain back this fast when they robbed his ass in my town. But the cops, if the cameras don't pick you up, letting them know where everybody at, where they going, what they doing. It's like, it's crazy here. If the cops don't pick you up, the cops will come to you in 2.5 seconds because they ain't got nothing to do. They're doing traffic stops, they're doing potholes, right? They're doing red lights, parking tickets. That's what they're doing. So if you come and say, oh, some drunk guy hit me in his car, they coming. They coming right across the street, literally right across the street. Coming. So they come to her. She in a car, she crying. He in his F-250 passed out, drunk as hell. My husband come home. My husband's trying to calm her. What happened? What happened? What happened? Calming her down. She'll crying with her crocodile tears, crying. She's safe, but she crying. He passed out drunk. The cops come. How you walk him over to the police station? I know the police station is right across the street, but how do you walk him over to the police station? You know what happened to him? You hear that? My son is playing Despacito. It's a Spanish song. I don't know what he's doing. I gotta get off this live. Cito. Anyway, so the cops come. They take him to the jail. You know, we're nosy in this community. So I found out one of the arresting officers that walked him across the street to the police department. And I decided to talk to the officer. And I asked, what happened? He just needed to sleep it off. And we just gave him a ticket for disorderly conduct. I said, really? A ticket for disorderly conduct. He needed to sleep it off. The guy coming, he's a cocky little Korean too, cocky as hell. He come out a couple of days later. I saw him. I said, what happened? I heard you hit 17 blah 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 the apartment of his car. What happened? He was like, oh, I don't know. Everything's okay. She was crying, but she wasn't hurt. I said, but you were drunk. You okay? I wasn't drunk. I had some drinks, but I wasn't drunk. I said, okay. So my husband said you was passed out in the car. Yeah, but that's different. I wasn't drunk. But everything's good. So everything's good. No problem. They know me. That's what he said about the police department. And he was just flunting around. They know him. Why are we calling the cops? Why are we ending up dead? Why are we ending up dead? Why are we ending up dead? Somebody said sounds about white. Yeah, he could have killed someone. Absolutely. He was pissy drunk. When they got him out the car, he was passed out. They walked him across the street. All these cars there. I mean, you would have thought that we had a terrorist because we ain't used to seeing lights. We like, oh, the cops are here. What happened? Everybody be outside like, everybody be outside because the cops don't be coming around. This dude hit her while she parked in her car. Drunk as hell. He got out the next day and he's like, ain't nothing happened. No big deal. I'm not gonna say he didn't get no DUI, but I'm not gonna say that he did. I don't know that. He was in his car when the cops came. I'm sure he got a DUI, but when you get an attorney and you can fight against whatever charges are being put against you, what good is that DUI? I mean, for some people it's gonna stick, for other people it's not gonna stick. Well, he didn't have no DWI, right? Right. So my point is, again, they know what communities they police and how they're going to police the communities. The problem is, what I'm asking is, why do we keep allowing them to come in to treat us how they do? Now, there are things that we have to do, people. I'm not going to say that they're just going to disappear. But I do think that we need to start getting into the mindset to control our own communities, to police our own communities, to take care of our own communities. We do have to get into the mindset in order for us to change the narrative, to change the outcome. We do have to get into that mindset. We got to stop looking at each other as enemies. We got to stop looking at each other as a threat, as competition. We got to stop looking at each other like that. Even if you don't want to say good morning, say good morning. Say good morning. If somebody has a nice dress on, say you look nice. I say all the time, like, sis, you really doing that. I don't shame people. If you got a weave, I'm gonna be like, I don't know why she wearing that white man's hair, because I used to wear weaves and wigs myself. Instead, I say, yo, sis, your hair is banging. I give her compliments. Right? If a guy holds the door for me, I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. Chivalry's not dead. I'm so glad to find a man who knows how to be a gentleman. Thank you so much. Your wife is a lucky woman. I do all of that. Because we need that. We need healing. We need to see that we're not invisible by our own goddamn people. We need to see that we're loved and appreciated by our own goddamn people. We need to hear words of affirmation and encouragement by our own people. We need upliftment by our own people. We need empowerment by our own people. If maybe we get it more from our own people, we'll stop looking for it from other people. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. Thank you so much for your donations, family. Thank you so much for hitting the like button. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for following me on Instagram and social media channels such as Facebook. Thank you so much for being a part of the community. I know that we all keep the narrative the same. I know that we all can make these differences. I need to get off this live because clearly I have woken up my little one, and it's after 12 o'clock at night. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I woke him up. He's playing reggaeton. He's playing bachata. He's playing the soundtrack from Black Panthers. He's up there playing all this stuff with Alexa. He knows what he's asking for from Alexa. Oh, Alexa, play Despacito. Oh, Alexa, play Luis Fonsi. Oh, he knows what he's doing. So I need to really just take my behind on back there, put his behind back to bed. I love every last one of you guys. We can do this. We can make the change. We need to first change ourselves. Let's keep Jacob and his family in prayer. Let's make sure the cops burn in hell. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Laws of reciprocity. Let's make sure the cops burn in hell. Let's make sure karma is returned. Let's make sure what's manifested on our families are manifested on theirs. An eye for an eye. Ain't nothing wrong with that. For all the kumbaya people who drink kumbaya juice, is either you get with it or get without it. And if what we're saying offends you, then you don't understand spiritual forces and you don't understand the power that's within you. For those of us who understand Ashe, we know what it is. Pour the libations, burn your sage, say a prayer to the ancestors, and let's make sure they get what they deserve. Ashe, Ashe. I love you all. Be blessed.